small village, a poor woodcutter lived with his wife and 2 children, Hansel and Gretel. A terrible famine struck the land, and there was not enough food for the family to survive. One night, the woodcutter's wife, who was also the children's stepmother, persuaded him to abandon Hansel and Gretel in the forest so they could fend for themselves, ensuring there would be enough food for the adults. Although reluctant, the woodcutter agreed to her plan. The first to escape, Hansel, overhearing the plan, gathered white pebbles by the light of the moon and filled his pockets. The next day, when the stepmother led the children deep into the forest, Hansel dropped the pebbles along the way. After being left alone, the children followed the gleaming trail of stones back home. The stepmother, enraged at their return, insisted they try again. This time, Hansel couldn't collect pebbles because the door was locked. Instead, he left a trail of breadcrumbs. Unfortunately, when they tried to follow the trail, they found that birds had eaten the crumbs. The witch's house, lost and hungry, Hansel and Gretel wandered through the forest until they came upon a strange and wonderful sight, a cottage made entirely of gingerbread, cakes, and candies. Starving, the children began to eat pieces of the house. A wicked witch who lived in the cottage emerged, pretending to be a kind old woman. She invited the children inside, offering them food and a place to sleep. However, her kindness was a ruse. She was a witch who lured children to her house to eat them. She locked Hansel in a cage and forced Gretel to do chores, fattening Hansel up for a feast. The clever escaped. The witch checked Hansel's finger daily to see if he was plump enough to eat, but he cleverly held out a bowl instead, tricking the nearly blind witch into thinking he was still too thin. Frustrated, the witch decided to eat him. Anyway, she ordered Gretel to light the oven, intending to cook her first. Gretel, however, outwitted the witch, pretending she didn't know how to operate the oven. She tricked the witch into showing her. As the witch bent over to demonstrate, Gretel pushed her inside and slammed the door shut, leaving the witch to perish in the flames. The return home, Gretel freed Hansel, and the children explored the witch's house, finding treasures of gold and jewel. They stuffed their pockets and returned home, navigating the forest with the help of a friendly duck. When they arrived, they discovered that their stepmother had died and their father had been heartbroken over losing them. The family was reunited, and with the witch's treasure, they lived happily ever after.